Here we go with week 5 of On Top the Cage. We have officially, well, not officially, almost reached the quarter pole of the National Football League season. 4 games in, we now play 17. We used to play 16. I'm going to call it the quarter pole. So,
With me.
yeah. And we're gonna Dan and I are gonna do a little segment here at the end of the intro about surprises and disappointments on the year, and the beer review ties into it as well. But we have turned the page to October.
Can you tell?
I know, right? Dan's talking about the weather here, I'm assuming, and unseasonably warm here in Northeast Ohio. We've had a few days in the mid-80s.
Yeah, it's been so hot I had to turn my sprinkler system on.
I'll tell you what, Dan has a sprinkler system. I'm envious, jealous of it for sure. We haven't had rain here probably in close to 2 months. I mean, it's really, really dry here. I did my makeshift sprinkler system as well out here for these last few days. We got another, I want to say the weather turns on Friday, and the heaters haven't been out yet. Usually they're up by now in the garage. They haven't been up. They'll probably go this weekend, though, because we got a significant drop that comes this weekend.
You know what? I was up in the attic getting the Halloween stuff down for my garage because we
late to the game.
Well, it's October. I'm not late. I'm right on time, buddy. And I forgot to get a heater down.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to.
You're probably gonna need it. You're probably gonna need it. I want to say the lows are like 40s, and I didn't think I saw 30s, but I think I saw 40 as a low this weekend already. So, it's quite a drop. So. Anyway, leaves are starting to fall. That's a big project for me in the back. We'll see how that all shakes out. But
I blew again. Those stupid big leaves from that junk tree.
On my mower now, and I tell you what, when we used to have the lawn service here, I used to always blow all the leaves off before they came and mowed. And I'm going to see if hopefully the mower, which has mulching blades on it, I've taken over this year, hopefully it does a little bit of a trick on it. It's easier to blow. I'm sure I'll have to blow some. But anyway, there's a significant project back there. But I mentioned we're in October, the best sports month by far in the calendar year, if you ask me.
Like it's football, baseball, and basketball starting, and hockey.
All of it.
And you got MLS.
That's right. Dan got it all. We have full blown. We're in the throng of college football, professional football, Major League Baseball playoffs started today. Welcome back this month to the NHL and the NBA that come back later this month. We also have the MLS playoff that start later this month, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it's close. I think October is by far the best sports watching month of the year.
Oh, totally.
So
it totally is.
Next week, we will have a guest picker that leads into me talking about my brother-in-law, Teddy, coming up this weekend. We look forward to him coming. I'm trying to coax his brother, Kevin, to come from Louisville. Those guys have some drinking chops, and we all get together. It's kind of a mess, but I can't wait to see him. That's going to be awesome. They are coming in without their wives, or at least Teddy's coming without his wife, and we'll see what Kev does. We'll miss Kate, but I don't know. We're going to have a problem on Saturday. I was talking about all these great sports, so it's a tough situation. We got 2 TVs out here, and we got plenty of TVs in the house, but Teddy's a rabbit.
Are we going to do the beer review?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'll talk about that. That's a good idea. Let's do it, Dan.
I need a drink.
It's called Observation Deck.
Yes, it is.
It's a collab.
Masthead.
And AleSmith. The collaboration beer.
AleSmith.
AleSmith, I had to look it up. They're from San Diego, California. I have no idea how that collaboration worked. But yeah, it's a regular IPA.
7.5% alcohol by volume.
I had a fun beer picked out for this week, but I saved it for my brother-in-law Ted to come up next week. It's a wild tasting beer, I'm guessing. But I picked this one for this week because we are at the quarter pole observation deck, meaning Dan and I are going to give our observations on the first quarter of the National Football League season. We're going to talk about surprises, disappointments, what's kind of happened so far a little bit before we get into actually picking all the games. What do you think, Dan?
If you put a blindfold on me and put this beer in a glass and Truth in a glass, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
So you're a fan. Dan's a big fan of Truth. He's talking about the Truth beer, which is probably the best offering that I've heard or tasted so far out of the Rheingeist Brewery Company based out of Cincinnati.
Yeah. And I believe theirs is 7.5% too.
That tastes a lot like the Truth. That's a good beer. It's a good beer.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
I like it. Yeah, you're right. It's very similar. I feel like the Truth is a little bit darker. I don't know. I've always only drank out of cans.
I think it is a little darker in a glass, but to taste it.
I think Dan loves the Rheingeist Brewery because they only make beers in cans. They don't bottle their shit ever. And Dan's a can beer drinker.
Can or keg, baby.
Anyway, we had a couple shots with no shots on the table, but we're not into last week's record yet. That's my fucking fault. In any event, I was talking about our TV problems when we decided to do the beer review. Teddy, rabid Georgia football fan. They played a pretty good football game against the University of Kentucky. Notre Dame, Dan and I's football team we follow the most. They play Louisville, undefeated Louisville. Kevin's hometown. Kevin, please come up. That'd be fun too. 7:30.
Is that at home or at Louisville?
They're in Louisville.
Oh,
I think. I'm almost
road?
positive of that. I think they're on the road
games
again.
on the road?
Yeah, and then they play another night game the following week at home. They host the Trojans of USC.
Oh, good.
So they got a little bit of a gauntlet to go through here.
Jeez. This is tough a schedule in college football.
What's the MLS game that's on at 7:30, Dan?
Columbus is traveling to Atlanta.
They're hosting.
No, they're in. No,
It's here. I'm almost positive it's here.
no, it's in Atlanta.
Are you sure?
I'm
I thought it was
positive
here.
it's in Atlanta.
That shit tricks me up because whenever I look at,
I'm gonna look.
Dan's gonna look. That's fine.
Because
I thought they were here, but it always
they were here when the Crew put 6 on them.
It always trips me up because when you look at the
They're
Score
in
mobile
Atlanta.
side or whatever
I
it is, they
know.
always list the home team at top, and every other sport lists the home team at the bottom. So Dan's gonna look that up. We got that going on, and
They're at Atlanta.
they're in Atlanta. Okay, Dan was right. I'm corrected. I appreciate
Chick-fil-A
it.
will be open Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then, and Teddy's a huge Atlanta Braves fan. They're the 1 seed on the National League side of the ledger, if you will. So I don't know if they're going to be playing or not. It depends, I guess, on how things shake or what time they're going to play. But we are stacked at 7:30 at night for sure with TV viewing. So it's going to be a problem, but I'm looking forward to it.
You might have to borrow one of my TVs with the Roku.
I don't know. I feel like Teddy has Apple TV. I think we'll have it covered. It's just a matter of how to watch them all. It's hard. I mean, we got
only 2
we got
TVs
4
out here.
There's multiple inside, but yeah, there's a lot of, and unfortunately, they're all starting at 7:30 p.m. But anyway, I got good news, bad news thing. You want to
Need
do
a
good news?
radio.
What?
If you had a radio, you could have
Fuck,
a.
that doesn't work for me.
Yes,
That works
come
for
on.
you. You're so fucking old school. That doesn't work for me.
What do
I'm
you
not
mean?
gonna listen to.
Turn the TVs on silent. You can have a radio going with another game. Come on.
It's not the same, man. Not
Jeez.
the same. I need pictures. Good news, bad news, Dan. What do you want to do first?
I don't care. I don't know this segment.
No. All right, we'll do good news first. Good news. I guess it's good news. Good news for Ethan. Ethan, our youngest here, passed his driver's temps test today. He was tooling around with Gavin, driving with Katie. So he's super excited about that. Passed it on his first time. I don't think he studied too terribly much, but good for
So
him.
in Ohio, you can get your temps 6 months before you're 16
That's right.
to practice driving.
His birthday's in February, so he's super excited about that.
So Ken has a designated driver for the next 6 months.
Yeah. I'm not super excited about my buying another vehicle, having another vehicle in a driveway, adding to my wildly
You need a
large
parking deck out here.
auto insurance bill with multiple drivers on it. But anyway, good news for him. Bad news, a national story from my little hometown, Teotopolis, Illinois, population 1,600. There was a really bad ammonia tanker accident that happened. I mean, national news. I mean, I'm seeing it on the AP. I'm seeing it on the New York Times. Nothing happens in my little town, and it happened right outside of it. I know exactly where it happened from the description from the national news markets, but ammonia tanker crash and obviously wildly hazardous stuff.
Like 5 people died.
They did, and I don't think all of them died from the accident. The fact of the matter was that it's so hazardous and flammable and things like that I don't think they got the EMS crews there, or they couldn't go in as quick as possible. I think some of the people actually passed away as a result of the exposure, which is fucking scary, man. So
Did they say what the cause of the accident was?
I-
The guy on his phone?
I don't know about distracted driving or anything like that. I know that
You
there
didn't
was
get in there?
there were 5 casualties. One of them was from Ohio. I think the tanker driver was from Ohio, North Olmsted. And I think there was 3 casualties from my hometown. I feel horrible about that to make the national news that way. Ronnie,
I mean, what if it was a situation where, you see the accident and you go to assist the driver in that truck, and then because of that chemical, you got killed?
yeah, And the EMS crews or whatever it was that reported to the accident, I don't know. It was an ugly, ugly scene. I hate to see my little hometown national news for that. I've seen something better than that. But Ronnie, I know you gifted me tickets. If there's like that T-Town Strong T-shirt, I need one of those. And let me know when the beer garden fundraiser is, because that's what my little hometown does.
Beer garden fundraiser.
That's what
What's that?
I'll tell you what. That's what they do. I'm not even fucking shitting. I guarantee one of those things going on for whatever the families are that may have perished in whatever as a result of the accident or a result of the exposure. I'm a little bit ignorant too, and I probably shouldn't be talking too much about it because of my ignorance. But that's what my hometown does. They have big beer garden fundraisers,
Oh, we need to know about that if they're having one.
I guarantee
and if they got T-shirts, we need T-shirts.
My buddy Ryan Home knows exactly what I'm talking about. I guarantee there's one. So anyway.
Extra chunky for me.
There you go. If they're out there, I want one. T-Town Strong for sure. So staple of the show. We haven't done it yet. Green Bulldog Youth Football Update. Dan's team.
We lost in triple overtime.
That's brutal. That's freaking dude. That's like 2 games worth.
Triple overtime.
How long are overtimes?
It's untimed. We start at the 10. You
Each
get
team gets possession?
4 plays. Yeah. 4 plays from the 10 to score.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, Dan. This is your
Triple
forte.
overtime.
This is your forte.
Yeah, no, it was... plus, we got some home cooking because we weren't on our home field. We were the community south of us, playing on the turf high school field. Thank God, because they turned the lights on for us.
Oh, because it got late. Yeah,
game started at 5:30.
What time did it end?
I got to my vehicle at 10 to 8.
Oof, that's a long time for little kids.
Well, the little kids are fine. It's a
Yeah.
long time for me.
Right?
I
Stressful.
needed a
Stressful
beer
shit.
at halftime, shit, and then I had to wait 3 overtimes. But yeah, I mean, the kids played great. We had 14 kids, freaking triple overtime. The team ran the ball twice against us. We had 5 picks. One of them was a pick 6. I mean, it was a battle. It was good for. I mean, both teams played good, but unfortunately, we were at the losing end. And I think, I'm not going to bitch about the refs, but I think they played a hand in it.
They're not happy about it. He's not going to bitch about it on the show. I did send him a text that said Victory Beers. I think I sent it like at 6:30 or 6:45.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe he's going to come over for the Notre Dame game, which kicks at 7:30. Maybe it'd be like, because he had to drive basically right by my house to get back home for the most part. And no, I'm like, fuck, the guy's like ghosted me. So I get a response like at 8:15. Dave's fucking wildly pissed. We got fucked. I don't know. A few things like that came up. So that's unfortunate. We got another game left right now. We got one
more game. We had
season.
14 going into that game Saturday. We're back down to 13. Our center and starting linebackers now in a walking boot. So, we're the Dirty Baker's dozen. Look out. We're coming to kick your ass.
Speaking of dirty, this wasn't really on the board, but it came up. Because other things Dan and I texted about on, I want to say it was Saturday, maybe it was Sunday. Dan's got a skunk issue in his neighborhood. Let's talk about this.
Dude, there has to be a family of skunks. I mean, our neighborhood butts up, and there's a good-sized tree line that goes up to the main road. So somewhere within that area, there has to be a family of skunks. I swear to God, the last freaking month, 3 weeks, every time I go home, it smells like skunk. The dog next door has been sprayed 3 freaking times this summer.
That's
3
awful.
times.
Has Gideon escaped all this?
No, if we
That's
smell,
Gideon's
yeah, no, he can come out, but he's staying in the garage. But I'm nervous because what if one of them bastards comes in the garage?
Fuck off.
What am I gonna do?
Can you imagine?
I'd be like,
wait, what if, I mean, dogs are a bitch to actually, tomato
my dog's
juice,
got
whatever.
a freaking fro.
Right, well, and what the old school remedies, like tomato juice and shit, right?
I don't know.
You know better than
I
that?
heard peroxide, and I don't even know.
What if a human gets sprayed by that shit? Does it come off?
I want to sit out there at night with the
Get sprayed by a fucking
freaking
skunk.
22 pellet gun and start shooting them. And my wife's like, "Oh, it'll still stink," and I'm like, "But the thing's dead."
Right, yeah. You got an arsenal of those. Remember our
Jeez,
kids used to have all those airsoft guns and shit? Was that
Oh
kill a
my
skunk?
God! Yeah, no, I don't think that'll kill a
Stun 'em.
skunk. But
That's
it was
fucking
funny
shit.
because one Saturday morning there was one dead on the main road, and we were like, "Oh, thank God, the skunk's dead." But
No,
they're still around.
He's
That
got
must have just
friends.
been one.
He's got friends. Now they're really pissed.
Oh, I mean, there's sometimes because I like to hang out in my garage too. I got the TVs, got the kegerator, you know. But there was one night it was so bad it was burning my throat. I had to go in. I couldn't. I couldn't stand it.
Skunks are awful. They're awful. Anyway, that was not supposed to make the show, but
Holy hell!
anyway, I did mention the beer observation deck, and Dan and I both like it, but I picked it because Dan and I are going to give our kind of perspective on the first 4 weeks of the season. You know, surprises, you know, disappointing teams, things like that. We started out with the good last time. Let's start with the bad. Disappointing teams. Well, let's start with there's 2 teams that are undefeated so far, and they're both on the NFC side, San Francisco and Philadelphia. 2 good teams. On the other losing end of it, the other end of the stick, if you will, teams that are winless, both from NFC as well, Carolina and Chicago. So one of my teams, I can't tell you how sad I was. We'll talk about them really soon here because they're the Thursday night football game. But bad news. Disappointing teams. Let's talk about disappointing teams first. I'm going to throw one out there right away.
Well, let's talk about the disappointing refs because it's been a fiasco. I mean, every week there's a crazy-ass non-call or some bullshit that happens.
The first one that comes to mind, if you're going to talk about calls, was a call against Sauce Gardner that kind of turned the chances of the Jets to have a chance to win that game against Kansas City on Sunday night.
Ridiculous.
That was a really, I mean, they let them play all night. It certainly wasn't holding. There was some hand fighting for sure. It certainly didn't warrant a flag or a penalty. Disappointments, though. I'm going to throw one out there. Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, yeah, total disappointment. I mean, but you got an injured quarterback.
Yeah, and injuries. I mean, people say the Jets are disappointing because they're supposed to, but meanwhile, they lost a chess piece, right? And
Yeah.
Dane's kind of talking about the same thing. Burrow's not right, and we'll talk about Cincinnati. They're certainly on the board.
I mean, he's playing, but he's stuck in the pocket. He has no mobility.
I know.
He's stuck there, and teams know it now. And fine, you're gonna play, throw from the pocket.
That's right. And I forgot to mention this. This is our first week of buys. I mentioned this today is going to be up on the board. There's certain teams that are not going to be up on the board, and I think Dan's going to talk about his Cleveland Browns, but they're one of the teams on bye this week. That is Cleveland, the Chargers, Seattle, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that are on bye. So we're ready to buys, which seems a little early for me. Probably a little disadvantage for the football teams as well. But in any event, I think Minnesota's a little bit of a disappointment. They're 1-3 right now. They've turned the ball over a lot. It's hard to say disappointment. I mean, the Bears are obviously a disappointment. I thought they were going to take a big step forward, and we'll talk about them momentarily. And there's no injuries with that team necessarily, or like
their coaching staff is a disappointment.
Yeah, we're going to get them.
Freaking front office is.
Let's talk about surprises. Let's talk about something positive. First team that comes to mind, surprises.
First year surprises.
No, first team that comes
First team for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield, right?
Mayfield.
Playing well. They're
Yeah.
3-1. They have the lead in that division, a division that's clearly up for grabs, that NFC South division. The team I want to talk about, the Houston Texans.
Oh, that's another surprise. I'll tell you what, Denver's a surprise at how shitty they are.
They're a disappointment. Yes,
Well,
right?
but it's a surprise.
Fair. Dan's going the other way. Houston at 2-2. That division, they're all 2-2, and we'll talk about that when those teams come up on the board. But I think they're a really good surprise. Kudos to D'Amico Ryans as the head coach. We'll talk about them. So that's just a little extra segment here. I know we're really long. I'm trying to make this show, I guess, as fun as possible. So, and it tied into the beer review observation deck. But I think we're on a Thursday Night Football.
Yay!
Right. It is my Chicago Football Bears traveling nation's capital to play the Washington. Oh, Dan. Stop. Last week, we didn't even do the records. That's so bad. My bad.
Yeah.
I apologize
Let's
for
go
that.
back to do the records because I'm on top, baby.
Yes, sir. Dan had a very good week. Dan went 9-7 last week. He is currently 35-28-1. He did lose his elephant pick with Cleveland. It was a little bit unfair, I guess. There may be an asterisk next to that because we all thought Deshaun Watson was playing. He did not play. We'll get into that a little bit, probably when the Baltimore game comes up on the board. I had a really awful week. I went 6-10. I'm now 1+, 32-31-1. I lost my elephant pick as well with Pittsburgh. Dan and I are both 2-2 on that. Bounce back week. I promise you it's going to be a bounce back week.
Uh-oh. I'm picking everything Ken picks.
I can feel it.
Okay.
I can feel it in the air tonight.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Who's that?
Lord. Yeah, Chris Stapleton. Do you
Chris
like the new
Stapleton.
intro to Monday Night Football?
I do like it. I don't necessarily like his outfit, what he's wearing. It's
What, his
kinda-
big ass beard? Tough
well,
motherfucker.
his beard and the shot they have on his face the whole time.
With the
Kinda
shot.
odd.
Anyway, I love Stapleton. Anyway, I like the updated intro to Monday Night Football with him and Snoop, and then that little collaboration that they do in regards to that. I think it's great. So good for them to kind of keep things fresh, if you will. I'm going to recap this game. I apologize. I missed the last week records here. Chicago, my football team traveling to Chicago, play the Washington Redskins. Redskins are Redskins, more multiple mistakes. Commanders, 6.5-point favorites in this game. Bears are winless. Washington is 2-2. We're going to talk about my football team. They come off a brutal loss at home against the Denver Broncos, where they led the game 20-7.
Was that at home or was that in Denver?
No, it was in Chicago.
Holy shit.
They're up 28.
You should have fired that freaking guy. He should have never made it out of Soldier Field.
The Bears were up 28-7 in this game. They looked great. And then things all went wrong. The defense is awful. Fields ended up turning the ball over. It wasn't really his fault the first time, and the guy was like on top, and it was a fumble return for a touchdown. The Bears have lost 14 games in a row. For those who are watching across the pond in England, that's an entire fucking fortnight of football games.
Wait,
You know,
is he trying to break Hugh Jackson's record?
I don't know what record that is, but I can't. I tell you what, the last time I was sad and not just mad about a football game was this week. And the last time it was before that was the double doink game in the playoffs against the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been sad. Well, I was mad and then I was sad. Like,
Well, I was sad for you because I'm watching the Browns get their ass throttled by the Ratbirds.
but the Browns are in the thick of things, though.
And I'm checking the scores, and you guys were up. So I was like, okay.
Kill 'em, kill 'em.
So there's a bright spot.
Killing them.
And then I'm like, okay, our game's ending. I check my scores again. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
The team doesn't know how to win.
Freaking your coach is a defensive coach.
There's a chance if the Bears lose this game in the nation's capital on Thursday. It's obviously a long week since they play on Thursday before they play their next game the following Sunday. There's a chance it's an entire coaching change, but I don't know where you go with it because they don't even have a defensive coordinator. There's nobody on staff that is like viable. And Dan and I were talking about this. And I'm like, how about Leslie Frazier's bringing fucking Colt in?
Bring back
Colt in.
Singletary.
He was the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He's not
Last year.
employed right now. It was going to take a year off, but he was the starting cornerback for the '85 Super Bowl Bear team. I don't know. Kevin Warren's the president of operations. At least Michael McCaskey's no longer that. I mean, they got a real football person there. Maybe he cleans the whole house, but I don't know how you do it without cleaning poles too. I don't know. It's an absolute
Poles should
disaster
go.
in House Hall.
He should go for the Chase Claypool trade. You gave up number 2 pick for Claypool, and now you're not even allowing him to come to the facility.
And that was the Bears. I know. I don't like that decision to like ostracize a player. With that being said, Claypool was a little bit douchey in regards to his
He's
comments.
a weird dude, but
He's an edgy dude.
Aaron Rodgers is a weird dude too.
Yeah, they can both play football, man. I mean, anybody who tells me that Chase Claypool can't play football is wrong. Whether or not the effort's there is a whole different thing. I mean, I guess the silver lining for the Bears, I got to stop talking about them. Justin Fields probably had his best day as a quarterback in the National Football League in a game. He had plenty of games where I'd be like, that guy's got it, but it was more running. This was all passing. He barely ran the football. I mean, the ball came out on time. He threw good balls. He threw good deep balls. They were on the mark. It all looked great. That's the silver lining for the Chicago Football Bears. But I'm done talking about that. The recap, Washington -6.5 in this game. And they played an overtime game against their division rival, the Philadelphia Eagles. They had a chance to win that football game. They were very game. They were there at the end. Sam Howell played way better than he did the previous week. The defense is good. I mean, I think the final score ended up with Philadelphia scoring 30 points, but I mean, it's a pretty damn good offense. Their defense is good. They're a good football team. And before I get into picking this game, Dan, Dan and I were texting last week, and we both noticed it, like at the same time. Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit called this game on
Oh,
Amazon
my God.
Prime. How pissed off is Al Michaels that he even has to call this fucking game? He was very edgy last week.
He's saying hell.
Yeah.
I mean, twice he said hell. I'm like, wait, what?
Al Michaels is old enough as the play-by-play announcer to do what the fuck he wants, I think, or act like he.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at that age where, like, I don't give a fuck. I'll say what I want to say. I don't know what he's going to say about this game, but I think we get some edgy comments from Al. Again this week, Washington minus 6.5, Dan.
Washington played a hell of a game, but lost.
They're 2-2. They're in the middle of that division.
They're in the middle of the
I mean,
division.
Phil's 4-0, but
Short week. Will they forget about the loss to their divisional foe and win by 6.5? I don't know. I think I'm going to Chicago on this.
Dan always goes to Chicago. I have a hard time not believing that Fields plays well again. There's something about galvanization. I don't know. They got to break through at some point in time. I'm not saying they're going to win this game. I think their game in the nation's capital, it's a pretty big number for a very mediocre Washington football team. That's almost a touchdown, Dan.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
a big number for a Washington football team. I don't care who they're playing or where they're playing. I'm going to take the safer side of it and say that this game's a 3-4 point game. Hopefully it goes the Bears' way. I have a guess it goes Washington's way. Sunday football starts again. And
Wait, so you're on the Bears too?
I am.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah, I am. Sunday football starts again very early, 9:30 in the morning. This game, at least, you don't have to stream. It's on NFL Network, which is carried by almost all the cable
last
channels.
week game wasn't on NFL?
It was on ESPN Plus, and then the Toy Story thing was on Disney Plus. I didn't hear a lot of hubbub about the Toy Story thing. I mean, I don't think it went off that well.
I heard it was stupid.
That's what I heard too, kind of. But I didn't see, like, on Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days, I didn't see
Well, who the hell's going to watch it?
No,
Kids?
Well, you got listen.
Kids would rather watch the real freaking game. That's who's buying the jerseys.
But that's
Parents, go to NFL Shop, buy your kid a jersey for $120.
It's completely different than
What the
watching.
hell are they
Monday
going to
Night-
watch Toy Story for?
I agree. Animated little characters running the ball, whatever. Yeah, it's not the same as watching football.
No.
Dan and I both watch the alternate broadcast on Monday Night Football with Eli and Peyton because it's entertaining. I think it's more entertaining, and Dan
can't
has an
stand
issue with
Joe
Joe
Buck.
Buck. I knew that was coming.
Screw him.
Sunday,
It's an
9:30
ass.
football starts NFL Network. So, Tom, my father-in-law, you got this game. It's on 212 on your DirecTV. Don't worry about it. You got it. You're there. It is, and you're going to be rooting like hell for the Jags to beat Buffalo. I know you are. It is Jacksonville who stayed there they played there last week.
2 weeks in a row. They're the home team.
They're home with home, but they are officially the away team this week against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is the home team in London. They are 5.5 point favorites in this game. Let's talk about Jacksonville. They played in London last week. They're 2-2 on the season. They won the game against Atlanta. They were a great team last year and won a huge playoff game against the Chargers every time.
I'll take a win.
Every time. And I tell you what, here's the thing with me with Jacksonville. Where is that playoff team from last year? Where's that offense from that playoff team last year?
Baffled by what's going on.
They added Calvin Ridley, who's a great player, came off that whole year suspension for gambling or whatever it was. But we haven't seen that dynamic Jacksonville offense yet.
No.
And Buffalo, they won their home game against Miami. Miami had an opportunity to go in there and say, hey, new sheriff in town. Buffalo said, yeah, not so fucking fast.
Yeah.
They look like the Buffalo Bill team again. I mean, we were all kind of like, is it stale in Buffalo after week one when they lost that game against the Jets? They shouldn't have. They rattled off 3 in a row in convincing fashion. They're 3-1. They're 5.5 point favorites.
Buffalo's defense showed up. They've shown the ability to run the ball with
Who's running the ball there?
a host of guys.
Yeah, I think they're doing a committee kind of thing. Who's got the hot
But it's
hand
not
type thing?
Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen's not the leading rusher now when you look after the game.
Their defense has really, really stepped up.
Really good.
And I think I don't think they had Von Miller back last week. I think
No.
they get him back this week. That's going to help. I mean, he's an aging pass rusher. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk about, I'm going to mention Khalil Mack.
How about-
6 fucking
yeah.
sacks.
He had none coming into the game. I was just going to say that when you said aging pass rusher. I was like, what the hell?
The only reason why I mentioned in this game because the Chargers are on bye this week, and we're not going to mention them. But
6 sacks.
that is, if you're scoring at home as a Chicago Bears football fan, that's 3 times as many as the Bears have on the season as a team. So, anyway, I talk about the Bears.
So they only have 3?
They have 2. Bears have 2.
Holy
Khalil Mack
shit.
has 6.
And the Giants only had 2 going into last night's game.
So
what
bad.
the shit?
So, I mean,
Jeez, and you got a defensive coach.
it's a little bit of a fluke. I'm
my
not.
God.
Stop talking about my
Fire the hell.
fucking team. Buffalo
Dude,
minus 5.5 in the game. I think this game is tremendously difficult.
It is difficult. Jacksonville has the advantage because they're in England for basically 2 weeks now.
They're home away from home, but they're the way team.
Buffalo, big win. I mean, they're pumped up for that game. Stephon Diggs had a monster freaking game.
You did. We'll talk. Miami's on the board. We're not about their defense.
I'm going with Buffalo on this.
You know, it's hard not to, right? Because Jacksonville hasn't really showed up.
No, I agree.
I mean, they won the game against Atlanta, but where's that offense? And
Right.
the Buffalo defense has played so well. I have a hard time not going with Dan as well and laying the points. It's under 2 field goals. It's not under 2 touchdowns. It's under 2 field goals. I mean, I'm happy with the 5.5 number. I think I'm going to lay Buffalo as well. Who knows? Jacksonville maybe game, and maybe Buffalo, struggles with the travel or whatever the situation is, and they come out flat. Who knows? And Jack stays in this game. But Dan and I both like the Buffalo Bills minus 5.5 in this game. The Sunday 1 p.m. slate starts with Houston playing at Atlanta. Houston 2-2 on the season. The Atlanta Falcons have the exact same record, 2-2. The Falcons have been installed as 1-point favorites in this game. We talked about Houston a little bit earlier. They come off a huge home win against Pittsburgh.
Huge.
A dominating win. They won the game like 30-7 or something crazy, right?
I was looking at that score too. I was like, what the hell? And then I found out Pickett got hurt, which I don't know if that's a blessing. But then Trubisky's now the starter.
You can talk about Pittsburgh all you want. Let's talk about Houston. Let's talk about Houston. First of all, in my mind, there's a huge thing about belief and confidence and winning football games. This team hasn't won shit. They win very few football games. They're 2-2 on the season, and all of a sudden they got a little bit of swag.
C.J. Stroud's numbers, if you look at them, and I don't remember who showed that stat. If it was something I saw yesterday, he's up there with like Mahomes and.
He's throwing the most passes by a rookie quarterback without throwing an interception. I think the number is
Who's the dude
151.
at the Colts that retired?
Anthony Richardson? Are we talking about the quarterback? What are we talking about, Dan?
No. The quarterback that retired.
What are we talking about here?
I'm talking about the quarterback numbers through the first 4 games of the year.
Peyton Manning?
The Stanford kid.
Oh, Andrew Luck.
Yeah, he's up there with Andrew Luck, Mahomes. Shit, there were 4 dudes there, and he was right up. He's like number 2 through the first 4 games.
Yeah, Stroud's had a great start.
He's
had a great start. He looks fairly poised. There has been some rush, but I mean, I don't want to bury this thing. I give so much credit to DeMeco Ryans for changing the culture of that football team. At least they believe that they can win every football game.
They
fucking dominated us to this.
Too.
Yeah, those red helmets. I love the red helmets. I do. I'm a big helmet person. I love the red helmets. Good for Houston. I'm so happy for them. DeMeco Ryans, former player there, comes there. Looks like he's changed the culture. I mean, it's a sample size. I get it. 4 games. It looks like they may have a quarterback there. So the defense is playing well. Good for them. The Falcons, they come off, their loss in London. They ran the ball okay. Desmond Ridder he doesn't look like a National Football League quarterback to me. They got some decisions to make there at quarterback. If Ridder struggles again in this game, do you go to Taylor Heineke, who's the backup quarterback there? I don't know. They got some questions to answer. But, I mean, Atlanta, they're 2-2, and they're right in the mix of that division. I mean, the NFC South. I mean, Tampa Bay leads at 3-1, but they're right there. I mean, that division's up for grabs. They have tons to play for, obviously. They're -1. They're at home, Dan. And what's going to happen here?
Where did Ohio State play Georgia last year? In the stadium?
Peach Bowl in Georgia. And Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Peach Bowl.
Same place.
Same place. C.J. Stroud.
So,
C.J. Stroud
I don't
revenge
know.
tour?
Is it the ghost of that stadium or the revenge? I mean,
I like the revenge tour.
I don't think he was the reason Ohio State lost that game.
Stroud?
Yeah, I do not think
Oh no,
he was the reason.
it was the fucking targeting thing that took Marvin Harrison out of the game. Whatever. Teddy, I'm forgetting that. Teddy, by the way, I still have a bad shoulder. You might have to, we start, Kevin, we need you here as a referee. I have a bad shoulder still, Tad, but I can still give the 1-2. Teddy and I have a tendency to spar when we get a little drinky out here during watching football. I can't wait. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I can't wait to see you, brother. Dan, what are we going to do? Atlanta -1.
I'm going Houston on this one.
Me too. C.J. Stroud revenge tour. I love it. Dan and I are in agreement on the first 3 games. Who knows how it shakes? Next game on the board, the Carolina Panthers travel to Motor City, play the Detroit Lions. Lions, big favorites in this game, -9. Carolina's winless on the season. They're 0-4. Detroit, they are 3-1 on the season. We talk about the away team first. Carolina, they lost at home against Minnesota. They have offensive line problems. If you ask me, Bryce Young looks a little bit lost in regards to it, but it's
receiver problems. They don't have a number 1 receiver.
They don't have a lot of weapons. And when you have O-line problems and there's a lot of, quick pass rush, it's easy for a rookie quarterback to look lost. I'm not going to put this all on Bryce Young. And obviously they emptied the cupboard to get Bryce Young, and they got to recoup assets and figure this out. Detroit, they came up a long week, by the way. They played on Thursday night. They went to Green Bay and kicked the shit out of the Packers. And I want to talk about their defense. Flying around, absolutely flying around. Aiden Hutchinson, I know I mentioned him last week, playing well, continues to play well, but NBC and the National Football League put the Detroit Lions on the opening football game of the season against the Kansas City Chiefs, and we all questioned it. Like, really, are they that good? They're backing it the fuck up. And,
they play well.
And I love Dan Campbell as their coach. He had another very notable
got an
coach.
attitude.
Oh yeah, if we're the 100, you don't have to look very far. We're on your fucking doorstep. like he's got a swagger to him.
Yeah.
He's got an attitude to him.
Unlike our coach, who's a freaking candy ass.
Yeah, I hear you.
Jeez.
I'm in Dan's candy ass stable of my coaching staff as well. If you ask me, Detroit big number -9 though, like a big.
I'm taking
number.
Detroit.
Me too. I believe in the Lions football team. I think that they're gonna get up early in this game, and it's gonna be a real struggle for Carolina. There's an absolute changing of the guard in NFC North. Dan, you're wrong. You got a lot of things right last week.
I mean, I'm wrong.
When you talked about, I want to say, the Detroit-Green Bay game, you're like, Detroit really struggled with Green Bay, haven't beat them. This is the 4th time in a row. Last Thursday was the 4th time in a row that Detroit beat Green Bay, which is shocking to me because 2 of those had to be with Aaron Rodgers at a minimum.
All right, fine. I was playing the odds.
No, you're fine. I'm not giving you a hard time. Your record's better than mine. I'm not giving you a hard time. Dan and I are both on the Detroit Lions -9. We don't have a game apart yet. Tennessee and Indianapolis, this division game, this a wild game. I have no idea where either of us is going to go on this game. Indy -1.5 in this game. Tennessee comes off a very big home win against the Cincinnati Bengals, and this team is it was a dominant win. They won 27-3 or something like that.
They kicked the shit out of them.
They're so hard to predict.
Were they embarrassed because of the loss to Cleveland? Because they got freaking stoned.
Yeah, it's their formula. It's their formula. If they can run the ball, then everything works. If they can't run the ball, then nothing fucking works. They're so hard to predict.
He was running the ball like he wanted to kill you, which he didn't do that in Cleveland.
Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
No, there's a difference. Between the offensive line being able to your team has a very good defense. I don't know, but
really, because they didn't play in.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about them when they come up Baltimore. I'm not gonna talk about that in this game yet. But
how about Indianapolis? Are you surprised they're 2-2?
A little bit.
I am.
Yeah, me too. That's a good record. And that division, by the way, Indianapolis, Houston, Jacksonville, and who am I gonna miss, Dan? Oh, I'm gonna miss somebody. But meanwhile, they're
Indianapolis, Houston, Jacksonville.
I'll get it here in a second. And Tennessee, obviously, their division team. They're all 2-2. All these teams are in first place, if you will.
Yeah, Tennessee.
So it's a really big game, especially a big game for Indianapolis at home. Indianapolis, they were down 23-0 in their game last week against the LA Rams at home. They fought all the way back, tied the game at the very end of the game, 23-23. And they lost in overtime to the Rams. But, their defense has to play a little bit better than what they have. Anthony Richardson, up and down. He played quarterback last week, type of thing. He makes plays and he makes mistakes, whatever. It is what it is. That's the life of having a rookie quarterback run your football team. Indy minus 1.5 in this game.
You going first, or you want to make me?
I will. I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts minus 1.5.
I'm taking Tennessee.
Yeah,
That's why I made you go first, because I didn't want you followed me. Got Vrabel and a rookie quarterback. Tennessee all the way.
Now, Dan's a coach guy. I get it. I understand the rationale, the reasoning, and where he goes that way. I don't know, but they're such a mercurial team. Like, if things work for them in regards to the run game, yeah, they're probably going to punish you. If it doesn't and it's struggling, can Ryan Tannehill win the game for you? Probably not. I don't know. This is a really tough
toss.
Line's
1.5.
Yeah, easy. So, field goal game, right? Next game on the board, New York Giants travel.
Good grief.
Down to South Beach to play the in-laws team, the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins big favorites in this game, rightfully so, minus 9.5. The Giants are 1-3 on the season. The Dolphins are the opposite record of 3-1. Giants, they come off of their Monday night loss. Short week for them. Monday night loss against Seattle. I don't know if Saquon Barkley's going to be back or not, but
if I was him, I'd be like, I don't want to be back.
The team can't function without him. They can't
They're
function
awful.
without him. They have offensive line.
What happened to their defense?
They weren't mentioned in the little segment of the show that Dan called Surprises, Disappointments with Observation Deck, the beer that we're doing. But, yeah, they were a playoff team last year, and obviously they're not there. The offense is an absolute mess without 26. The offensive line is a mess. I think they gave up 11 sacks. That's fucking nuts. Against Seattle on Monday night. Short week, they travel. Pretty good travel situation. I know it's just down the East Coast. Dolphins. They've fallen off a cliff, though. The Giants fallen off a cliff. Dolphins. Back to reality for my in-laws team, if you will. I thought they had a great opportunity to go into Orchard Park and say, we're the hunted. Come get us now. We're going to seize this division. The Buffalo Bills said no thank you. We are still the reigning, division winners for the last 3 years or so in this division. You got to come get us. They beat them pretty good. My question with that football team, the offense, they got throttled a little bit. Buffalo played them pretty well in regards to defense. But my question with the Miami Dolphins right now is the defense. And I think a ton of Vic Fangio, who they brought in as defensive coordinator. Vic's got to get that fucking defense going. It's not been good enough so far.
I agree with that. The offense is the offense.
They're great. They got playmakers right and left.
Yeah, I don't know what they were preparing for on defense. Whether it was more passes, run,
the defense has to play better. I know they get Jay Ramsey back. It's going to make somewhat of a difference, but that defense, I thought that defense was going to take a significant uptick with the hiring of Vic Fangio, who I think a ton of as a defensive coordinator. There's a reason why that guy is a fucking defensive coordinator in the National Football League and is like 75 fucking years old, because he knows defense. It hasn't really translated so far. So we'll see what happens with that. But they're big favorites, less than a touchdown and a field goal, I guess. Dolphins minus 9.5.
I'm laying it, taking Miami. The Giants blow.
I don't think Barkley's back again this week. I don't.
They're not
I don't
good.
think that Brian Daboll thinks their team really, even if Saquon Barkley has a chance probably to win this football game, they're going to probably rest him another week. I think it's an ankle, if I'm not mistaken. The longer you give ankles, the better off you are to come back healthy, if you will. They can't afford to lose football games. They're 1-3, going 1-4 is almost like a death sentence. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to lay as well. The Dolphin offense is too much, firepower. I think they're going to blow them out too. It's minus 9.5. Dan are both on. Next game on the board, the New Orleans Saints travel to Foxborough to play the New England Patriots. There's a little bit of line on there. It said, this is the most boring ass game I think I've thought of in a long time. The Patriots are minus 1.5 in this game. New Orleans, they come off they're 2-2. They come off their home loss against their division, not rival, but a division game against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's not on the board. They're on bye this week. But Tampa Bay took control of the game and had it from the gate. I mean, Kamara came back. It wasn't a difference. Derek Carr played in the football game. There was a big question whether or not he was going to play. It doesn't seem like he was healthy enough to play.
When I was looking at the scores over the week, I didn't know Derek Carr played.
He played, right?
And I was like, wait, what?
As opposed to your quarterback, but we're not there yet, Dan. Don't go there. It's the next game on the board. Derek Carr did not look healthy to me last week. Kamara didn't make much of a difference. New England got blown the fuck out in Dallas. It was one of the games they got completely wrong. I thought they were going to be game. I thought there was going to be some sort of defensive struggle. It was not. New England's offense is like stuck in the Stone Age.
Hey, Mac Jones didn't nut tap anybody.
Well, they brought in Callahan. Is that his name from Alabama? And he had some rapport with Mac Jones. Stable.
I forgot to do that with my first one.
I'll take another one.
Another one of those?
I don't know. What else? Whatever you bring me, I'm fine with. With that being said,
Your wife doesn't want me to bring you another one of those.
by the way, that was last week. The New England Patriots lost that game 38-3. It was the largest loss in Bill Belichick's career. Point differential, 35 points. So, I mean, that team, you talk about a boring football game. I don't know. I may always make Dan pick. Thank you. Oh, Browns. Yes, sir. I'll take it. I'll be happy with that. With that being said, I'm going to take
Is
a read.
that Nick Chubb? Bud Light jinxed us.
Looks too thin for Chubb. Looks like that Felton guy to me. In any event, I'm going to take the lead on this. I make Dan pick first all the time. I'm going to take the Patriots -1.5 in this game. They're home.
I'm taking the Patriots, too, at home. Bill Belichick's pissed. Come on.
Dan and I have one game apart right now. I think it's the Tennessee Indy game right now. I think we're on the same page the rest of the way. Next game on the board. It ends the 1 o'clock slate. It is a huge division game for Dan's division. He loves the Cleveland Browns. Is Baltimore, Pittsburgh? These two teams do not like each other either, I promise you.
Hopefully the stadium falls into fucking one of the three rivers.
All right, you got them all?
Ohio and Allegheny.
Three rivers. Ohio.
The other one must be the sewer.
I don't know. Fuck, I don't have it. I should have it. I'm pretty good at geography. Shit.
I'm sure someone's going to tell me what it is.
Shit. Anyway, Baltimore's -4.5 in this game, traveling on the road. They are 3-1 on the season. They won a big football game in Cleveland. Dan's looking it up.
No, I'm not going to look it up. I'm texting somebody.
Monongahela?
I don't know.
I might just sound completely stupid there. I don't know.
Keep talking.
I will. I'm still thinking. I'm sorry. I like geography. Anyway, Baltimore. They won their football game in Cleveland. Obviously, it was a situation where we thought Deshaun Watson was going to play the football game. It comes out like an hour before the game kicks that Deshaun Watson is not playing. Big issue here, Dan. It comes out later in the week. He was medically cleared. We thought he was going to play. He said he couldn't play. What's your? Where do you stand on that?
Well, okay. First, I'm really pissed at Stefanski for coming out. I listened to his press conference because I happened to be in the car driving between meetings, and I was like, dude, wait, what? You said your quarterback was medically cleared to play, but then
and said he
chose
couldn't play.
not to. Okay.
Well, chose not to and said I can't play because
I can't. Okay,
two
fine.
different things.
The dude's an NFL professional football player. He's played football his entire life. If he can't throw the ball because it is his shoulder on his throwing freaking arm, then he can't play.
I think what Dan's saying is that nobody knows their body better than themselves.
Yeah, which is what Stefanski said after that stupid ass comment. The whole thing's ridiculous. If the dude can't go, if you saw him in warm-ups, if he can only throw 10 yards, well,
right.
That screws you.
And
I'm more pissed because you knew this going into the game, and you have a rookie quarterback playing and didn't have a game plan going into that game for that rookie quarterback.
If that's the case, I'm not saying
ball
that's
control,
for sure, but
run the ball, passes. Where's Elijah Moore been? Where's all these guys you got? Because they don't get the freaking ball. I mean, Elijah Moore gets it on a freaking reverse and loses 20 freaking yards. 20 yards on a fucking reverse. That's coaching. You're stuck.
The Cleveland Browns are not on the board. Dan's venting a little bit here. I don't blame him. It was a big division win for the Baltimore Ravens in Cleveland. Minus Deshaun Watson, obviously, was skewed the line a little bit, or the situation a little bit. Their offense is kind of like progressing, I suppose, a little bit. Pittsburgh, they got absolutely beat down in Houston by the Texans. I want to say that final score was 30-7. They're 2-2 on the season. Kenny Pickett got hurt. I have a feeling it's probably a month long at a minimum injury for Pickett. You're looking at Trubisky, who is a viable option, certainly at backup quarterback.
It's meniscus on Pickett. He's out 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6, okay. Trubisky's team, not for nothing. I know he's a former Bear quarterback. He can play a little bit. He can play.
Put Mason Rudolph in.
Fuck that guy, dude. Trubisky's way better.
He can't put his helmet on.
Trubisky can play. I'm not sure Pickett gets the job back if Trubisky plays well, at least this season, if they get back into it. Their offense absolutely got throttled. It really did. I have a question about the offense, though. And if
Pittsburgh?
Let's talk about Mike Tomlin, who Dan and I both love, said he vowed that there were changes coming. My guess is the change that comes is Matt Canada as the offensive coordinator.
Hey.
I can see changes like that coming. Baltimore minus 4.5, traveling to Pittsburgh. Mitch Trubisky at the helm.
Oh my God. Hates me.
I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Are you really?
I am, because I think Mitch Trubisky knows how to play football. He's been in the National Football League for like 5 years, way longer than Kenny Pickett has. I think he knows how to guide this offense. He's mobile. I like their chances better in this game if Trubisky starts as opposed to Pickett, because he's still so young.
I agree with that, what you just said.
I'm taking the point.
Man.
Dan's struggling.
You sucked last week, but now your argument just made
There's no reason to say that, Dan. No reason to fucking pile on. Fuck.
I hate the Radbirds and Mudbud.
I know you did. I mean, these teams play field goal games. I'm not trying to convince Dan otherwise, but they always play field goal games.
The Steelers.
You think Baltimore's going to win this game outright, but the number's a little bit rich for you, maybe a 3 or 4 point game?
It's 4.5.
I know. I mean, you think the final's going to up 3 or 4, something like that, so you like it being under at least, even if Baltimore wins.
The final
right?
will probably be fucking 2, and it'll be the Radbirds.
Nah, fuck that. Next game on the board starts the 4. Fine. That's fine. Starts the 4 p.m. slate. It is the Cincinnati Bengals traveling out to play the Arizona Football Cardinals. Cincinnati a 3-point favorite in this game. Cincinnati's 1-3 on the season. So is Arizona 1-3 on the season. Cincinnati comes off their road loss in Tennessee. I don't know how far Tennessee is from Cincinnati. It can't be terribly far. It's got to be like 3 hours, top end. Anyway, the whole thing with Cincinnati, we mentioned them in the earlier segment as being one of the disappointments of the National Football League. And I think it's largely because their star quarterback, stud quarterback, and I'm not going to take that away from Joe Burrow, he has this calf injury, which very much limits him. It's not like he's this wildly mobile quarterback, but he has enough escapability, to change plays when it goes wrong. And he doesn't have that right now. But here's the problem for Cincinnati. They're buried. They're 1-3 in a pretty damn good division. Can you afford to sit Joe Burrow for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and wait till he's completely healthy and, throw away the season? I mean, not throw away the season, but hope like hell that you win one of those games or so and can be competitive? It's a very difficult decision for the Cincinnati organization, I think. Jamar Chase is unhappy. Dan mentioned it. I think he called him a douche last week. He says he's always effing open. I get it. You're a great player.
Diva.
I mean, he's struggling.
Ego.
I mean, the season's in the balance, and the Cincinnati organization has a huge decision to make whether or not it's worthwhile putting Joe Burrow out there who can't move because of his calf injury.
No, he's stuck in the pocket. I mean, he's playing, but he's a pocket quarterback.
So let's talk about Arizona. They're 1-3, like I said. They lost in San Francisco. They lost by a pretty healthy margin. San Francisco ended up covering a number, but they were kind of game. Joshua Dobbs has played well. They're certainly not the worst team in the National Football League. And it's Joshua Dobbs' team going forward for the most part. I know that Kyler Murray this week ended up they mentioned he's going to continue to be on the physically unable to play list, so that's another 4 weeks at a minimum for Kyler Murray. It's Josh Dobbs' team going forward here. They've been in games. I know they've lost. They lost by like 17 or something like that, or whatever it was last weekend in San Francisco against a damn good football team. But this is a scary football game. Cincinnati on the road -3.
Hey, Josh Dobbs, this is in.
He knows Cincinnati,
Yeah,
right?
2 years in a row. I mean, come on.
Josh
The
Dobbs.
defense is not as good as it was last year for Cincinnati. They lost some.
They have no choice but to win this game, Dan.
Yeah, well, no choice, but I mean, you got a injured quarterback, you got a receiver running his mouth off, you got other receivers that are on that team that are good that aren't making any plays, they're not getting any or not getting any open, but they're
So Cincinnati either wins this game and their season's alive, or they lose this game and all hell breaks loose in the Queen
last
City.
year you had Joe Mixon running the ball, and you had that other kid that I think went to Denver.
Talking about the running game for Cincinnati, Joe Mixon
Yeah.
still runs the ball.
Joe Mixon is
Chase
still
Brown,
there.
my Illinois
Oh,
product,
who the
is there.
hell?
But
He ain't been running the ball though.
Arizona's defense has been game.
They've been game, and Josh Dobbs he's a game manager and doesn't make mistakes.
I
He's
think
gonna keep it close.
Cincinnati's season ends up on the brink, out in the desert. I think Arizona wins this game outright. I'm taking the points.
I'm taking Arizona too.
All right, how about that? Next game on the board, kind of an intriguing game. It doesn't seem like it should be an intriguing game. It is the Philadelphia Eagles traveling all the way across the country to play the Los Angeles Rams. The Eagles are 4.5-point favorites in this game. The Eagles are 4-0 on the season. The Rams are 2-2 on the season. Philadelphia comes off their overtime win against Washington, where they were supposed to win the game by a touchdown plus. They didn't. They escaped in overtime. Once again, they're 4-0. You can't take that away from them. But they haven't won in any form of like dominant fashion at all. They don't quite look like the football team that they looked like last year.
Their defense looks a little different, plays a little different. But I mean, they're losing coaches. They're adjusting to a new coach.
I have a question. And this fucking play pisses me off, and I think it should be outlawed. That was been coined the tush push.
I told you how to stop it.
You did. But here's the thing. Philadelphia runs it, and they gain like 2-3 fucking yards. They might get a fucking first down at some point. They might gain 10 fucking yards.
At some time, that Kelsey dude's going to be like, you're going
Is
to
it
pay
him?
me more.
Because he's an awesome center?
Yeah.
Dude, if they run that play,
I mean, other teams have run it. You've seen, New England tried doing it, and Mac Jones didn't come close.
the Bears tried to do it. The Chargers tried to do it. They all failed. Why is Philadelphia, is it Jason Kelsey? Why are they so good at this?
Somehow we can do it with a tight end.
What if they run on first down? They're going to get like 7 fucking yards?
Hey.
Instead of fourth down?
Our Pee Wee team.
What the fuck?
He goes up there and does the silent count and takes off. But that's because my kids are that age group, 6th graders, stupid, not paying attention.
But you watch Philadelphia run that fucking play, and they gain 2 yards at a minimum, like every fucking time, right?
If I was Kelsey,
The Bears
every
will
time
fucking
you run that
6-inch you.
play, I would want more money.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Kansas City's coming up on the board next. I got something to say about that. But anyway, Philadelphia -4.5. The Rams. Let's talk about that. They had 23 points.
Surprising the shit out of
Yeah,
it.
great, right?
I mean, I can't. I don't know how they're doing it.
It's nuts. But meanwhile,
I thought they were gonna suck.
Me too, right? They're 2-2 on the season. They had a 23-0 lead in Indianapolis. They pissed it completely away. They go into overtime, and then Puka Nacua, who is the offensive rookie of the year, wide receiver,
Where'd that kid come from?
5th round wide receiver out of BYU. Of course he is. He's got some awesome flow. He's broke the record for the first 4 games of the season. He's like fucking 40 receptions or something like that.
First touchdown was this weekend, but Really?
Yeah. In overtime. It was in overtime. The touchdown was in overtime. But meanwhile, it's all kinds of new blood there. Matthew Stafford's flinging the ball for them. Old blood, if you will. But the new blood on the team is Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams running the football. Very young kids. I mean, the second year for the Notre Dame kid running the football. Puka Nacua, rookie. I think they may Cooper Kupp practice today, I heard. They may get Cooper Kupp back.
Nah, I don't think this week.
No, it's next week? Okay. We may still be a week away in regards to that.
Maybe 2 weeks away.
And in a few weeks, I think Dan and I will be doing a show on Wednesday where we'll have the injury reports. We don't have them yet. But Philadelphia minus 4.5 out in LA. Long trip, playing the Rams, who are playing really well. They haven't been dominant. I'm like leading you into the Rams, and I don't know what I'm going to do.
I can't stand Matt Stafford, but I think I'm going to go with the Rams on this one. Philadelphia is due for a loss.
I like that.
They're not going to skate like they did last year.
I think the Rams are game 2. I do. I think they're game 2. I agree with Dan. I think this game's really close. Yeah, we'll see what shakes. Maybe, I mean, the best performance that the Philadelphia Eagles have had so far this year was on a nighttime football game in Tampa Bay where they dominated on defense. But that was their best performance of the year, and they played mediocre teams.
They've had it.
They played down to their competition.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
I guess is the best way to put it. Not funny game. Weird game. The Jets travel to Denver. Jets are 1-3 on the season. Denver's 1-3 on the season. Same record. Denver just short of a field goal favorite. 2.5 point favorites in this game. The Jets just played. Well, they played on Sunday night against Kansas City, and Zach Wilson out of nowhere. Like Zach Wilson looked like a piece of garbage, right? For the longest time, getting beat up.
Are you using a quote from Rodney Harrison?
I heard that he beat him up. I did not hear the quote.
Called him garbage.
He did? Trash, garbage.
Garbage.
I mean,
Said
they're all
garbage.
synonymous. I tell you what, that kid played his fucking ass off. He looked awesome.
Good.
He looked fucking great. Guys
I
were
was
open and
shocked,
throwing him
and
up.
that's why I kept watching that game, because I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? He looked totally different.
I watched him throw some balls on point.
Totally different.
And then I watched him throw a guy open. He was completely covered and said, it's got to go to the back shoulder. It's the only way you're going to catch this ball. He threw a guy open. Like, I tell you what, Jets fans who are beside themselves, look, there's a spark there, man. There's a spark there, and who knows what happens. I know they lost that football game. I know that turnover was difficult in regards to the fumble snap. That penalty against Sauce Gardner was complete bullshit. If you're a Jets fan, I would have broke my fucking television, I think. It cost them a chance to get the ball back and win that football game. I mean, they've been playing that way. It wasn't holding. It was fucking hand fighting, which happens on every fucking,
There wasn't that much hand fighting either.
Yeah. It happens on every fucking snap between defensive backs and wide receivers. It was a horrible fucking football call. Robert Saleh was going to lose his shit. I saw the veins in his fucking head.
Why doesn't Stefanski act like him? That's what I want my coach to be, a freaking maniac on the sideline supporting his team. Stefanski, he looks like he's fucking ordering from fucking Applebee's.
I hear. Like one of the most winningest football coaches for the Chicago Football Bears, Lovie Smith, he used to drive me fucking bonkers because he was so calm. Like what's a really low blood pulse thing?
Don't put that on me. It's game day.
I know, dude. Yell at some motherfucker.
Have the fucking defibrillator.
Headbutt some motherfucker.
Because you're going to have to fucking recharge me and get up to keep yelling.
Yeah, I know. They fucking motherfuck somebody, right? I agree completely. It drives me crazy when my head coach is docile or whatever you want to say.
Hate it.
Sully got a penalty at the end because he was so pissed off.
He should have got a penalty for kicking somebody in the nuts.
Anyway, they were game, and that's a spark. I mean, I'm happy for Jets fans that Zach Wilson played. I'm happy for Zach Wilson too, man. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Taylor Swift should have been in his fucking booth. But anyway, they're playing at Denver. I'm going to recap this game. Denver minus 2.5. They won that game in Chicago after being down 28-7. Here's what happened, Dan. So it's hot here, right? It's hot in the Midwest a little bit more than it should be in October, right? And the Denver Broncos down 28-7, and I see this sideline situation. Sean Payton's wearing his big-ass hoodie, right? Some other dude comes over with a fucking scissors. He goes Belichick on it, cuts the shit off like 3/4 sleeves. They fucking rattle off the fucking win. I think that's what happened. I think the Belichick effect happened. I don't know, because I don't want to talk about the Bears. That's what I'm talking about. They're a shitty fucking football team. I think Sean Payton's fucking past his prime in regards to the coach. I guess their offense came to life. Once again, it was the Chicago Bears defense that they did against. I think Denver sucks.
They suck. I actually, what I saw from Zach Wilson on Monday night, and they're playing Denver, who is a shit show. I'm going with the Jets on this one.
Me too. I buy Zach Wilson as well. I think they win this game outright. It's a candidate for elephant pick for me because they're getting 2.5. I think Zach Wilson parlays this.
When we were talking before the show, that's my first.
You like
pick.
it?
Yeah.
You like it? The
That's
Browns
so
are on
funny.
the board, so Dan's not going to pick the Browns as
I'm
elephant
going to
pick.
pick another shitty team.
And I'm not going to give my buddy a hard time because he's got a way better record than I do. He has three more wins than I do on the season. Kansas City comes up on the board next. They're minus 5.5 in the game. They travel to Minnesota, play the Vikings. Kansas City 3-1 on the season. The Vikings are 1-3, opposite record. We kind of just talked about this. Kansas City win against New York Jets. What's the mantra of the story, Dan? The Kansas City
They
Chiefs?
don't cover.
They never
They're a good
fucking
team.
cover.
They'll screw around. They'll beat your ass. But at the end, they're happy with a win. Pat Mahomes slides down on the 2.
They didn't
Clock
cover
runs.
them.
They didn't cover.
Did you watch all the games? I mean,
Yeah.
Sunday's a very long
dozed
day.
off for a little bit, but I saw the slide at the end, and I was like, oh, time for bed.
Sundays are awesome, long, fun days here. We watch football. You know, Dan and I both feel like we have to accomplish something. We do something in the yard, whatever the situation is. Maybe cook, grill, whatever, smoke, whatever the situation is. I mean, by that I mean meats, as opposed to the weeds.
I'm doing meat. You're doing cigarettes.
Yeah, I do that as well. Stop it, Dan. Stop it. It's a hidden thing.
That's hidden?
Yeah, well, it
Where
might
the hell are you
not.
hiding
If the Bears lose again, maybe I break out of smoke on the set. Who knows? Who knows? All right. We're
You
not
have to
there.
sit out there.
We're
The
not.
smoking
Well,
section.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know you're used to it. Kansas City Chiefs, to recap, minus 5.5. Minnesota, Kansas City, they won a game. Mahomes was off in that game. I mean, he threw a couple of bad interceptions. One was like
maybe
really.
it's the Taylor Swift bullshit, because
I'm so fucking done with that. I'm so fucking done with that. I'm so
I could
done
give
with that.
two shits.
Me neither.
It's now the Kansas City Chiefs and keeping up with the Kardashians. I could give two shits.
I'm so done with
NBC
that.
looks stupid.
They do. Stop it. Nobody cares if Taylor Swift's there. I know that maybe she changed the economy. I know she has a wildly massive tour where she plays at NFL stadiums.
Fine.
Nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares that watch football that Taylor Swift's there. I promise you, it's not a deal. Stop saying that, blank space and this, that, whatever. Using Taylor Swift lyrics. Nobody fucking cares. I think Taylor Swift's an awesome artist. I think she should probably do the halftime show at fucking Sunday night of the Super Bowl. All well and good. I don't give a fuck if she's in the booth with Brittany Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes' wife and shit. I could give two shits less. I don't know why I'm railing on this. Minnesota.
Because it's dumb. NBC, that was ridiculous what they did.
It was. Minnesota got their first win of the season last week in Carolina. They should have won the game. They were favored to win the game. They won the game. They covered the number. They continued to turn the ball over. Kirk Cousins threw a horrible interception at the 1 yard line when they were going in. 99 yards returned is the only reason why Carolina was really in this football game. Their offense is kind of sputtering. Justin Jefferson did get on the board. He's had a ton of receiving yards for fantasy players. He got 2 touchdowns last week. With that being said, I mean, the game got salted away, ended by their defense, who sacked Bryce Young. He fumbled the ball. They returned it for a touchdown. Obviously, there's O-line problems in Carolina. I mean, Minnesota hasn't played well. They're one of my disappointments on the season.
Huge.
Kansas City minus 5.5. They're going to go in there and kick the shit out of these guys?
I hate picking Kansas City.
I'm gonna pick them to cover the number this week.
I am too.
All right. I don't know. It's been 4 weeks where they haven't covered a number. They should have covered a
But
number last week.
Minnesota is so bad. They have no running game.
Yeah, they lost Dalvin Cook.
They lost. They could have had it.
Madison, Cam Akers. Who knows? Maybe their game. I think Kansas City's a more. Well, here's the deal. Kansas City has lost speed. I love the energy of their running back Isaiah Pacheco. You talk about juice.
For what, a 6th or 7th round pick?
7th round pick out of Rutgers.
He was a freaking quarterback too, going into Rutgers.
7th round pick out of Rutgers. Dan and I are both on the Chiefs minus 5.5. Dallas, San Francisco is Sunday Night Football. We are on to
Oh my
it.
God! I swear.
Classic football game.
No.
From the
This
80s?
is bullshit.
I gotta pee, Dan.
That's fine. I live here in freaking Northeast Ohio, and I swear I've got to watch the Dallas Cowboys for the last 5 weeks. They're always on here. We don't like Dallas. Nobody here likes Dallas. That's not America's team. There's like 5 other teams I could say are America's team. I'm sick of seeing the Cowboys on prime time here in Ohio.
Part of it's my team's fault. Remember when the Bears were playing in Kansas City and they switched? The game was so fucking bad that they switched the game off at halftime and put Dallas, Arizona on.
Yes.
And then obviously the game of the week for Fox at 4:25 was Dallas and New England, and it wasn't a game at all. I mean, Dallas obviously blew them out. But meanwhile, this is a classic football game from, you know.
I don't know why.
Remember the catch game? Wasn't this the catch game where Dwight Clark made the thing? Joe Montana. Forever.
I was in high school.
I might have been in a crib. I don't know. That's not true. Dan and I are both very near the same age.
I mean,
San Francisco minus 3.5 this game.
Last Sunday I got Dallas and New England, which was
awful. Well, all the 4 o'clock games were really bad.
But that Arizona, who was Arizona?
San Francisco.
Yeah, that was a good game. It turned out to be a good game. Who's the other one?
I forget the other game. It's not on the board. There was a blowout. It was the Chargers and the Raiders.
Oh yeah, that turned out to be
Raiders had a chance to tie the game at the end. You're right. You're right.
The Cowboys. I'm so sick of seeing the Cowboys. I don't know why.
Why are they America's team?
I have no clue. I can't stand them.
Because they won Super Bowls in like the 80s, right? Is that why they are? Get the fuck out of here. I agree with Dan with that shit.
The Steelers won a shit ton of Super Bowls.
I mean, let's talk about the Cowboys. Let's talk about them and good.
I don't want to talk about them.
Hold on.
Suck.
Well, that's what we do on the show. They're 3-1 on the season. They come off a dominating win against New England. It was their defense that carried the day again. The offense was okay. I mean, they had playmakers. The offense was okay, but I mean, their defense just absolutely throttled New England. And New England has a Stone Age offense.
Diggs
that doesn't
is
surprise
hurt.
me.
Now, how about Micah Parsons? He got nicked.
They
did. Let him go back into the game and play, and I'm like, wait, what? This game's in control. Why is he in there?
Yeah, it should be. He has a podcast too. He talked about it. I think he's okay. I don't know. He has a very prominent podcast as well. San Francisco, to recap, is minus 3.5 in this game. They covered the number against Arizona, but the game was in flux. You know, in the third quarter, I think Arizona was down like by 6 points at one point in time in the third quarter. San Francisco, a very good football team. I mean, they're the best team in football, if you ask me. I don't think there's a question. They're really good on both sides of the football. Offense, defense, the whole 9 yards, this thing. McCaffrey, I mean, he's got like an MVP season, scored like 4 touchdowns or whatever it was.
Crazy.
They're 3.5-point favorites at home against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm laying the number all day, every day. I think they're going to blow the fuck out, the Cowboys. I do.
Blow them out? I'm going to take...
Blow them out.
I'm going to take the 49ers, but I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. Dallas' defense is good.
McCaffrey. Ayuk. Debo Samuel.
The offense is loaded.
Brock Purdy. Undrafted, Daddy. Undrafted.
Yeah, no, I'm going with the 49ers on this one.
It's a candidate for me. I'm not buying this Dallas team yet. I'm not
I'm not buying it. Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott? No.
That's it. The last name Dan mentioned, Dak Prescott, is my problem with this football team. I think he's an average National Football League quarterback. Well, is Brock Purdy an average National? Brock Purdy's maybe an average National Football League quarterback.
He's probably below average on a really good friggin' team. If you put that dude on any other team, he's not going to be that good.
I would describe it a little bit different. I would say that Brock...
Put him on the Bears.
Purdy, he's a horrible quarterback on the Bears.
Put him on the Browns.
Horrible quarterback.
Put him on the Steelers.
Put him in Kyle Shanahan's fucking offense,
but
which is
tailor-made.
I
just rattled off 3 teams.
Right, but you put him in Kyle Shanahan's offense, which is a timing offense, and the ball comes out, and he's accurate. He's the perfect quarterback.
Yeah,
that's the same reason why the San Francisco 49ers, John Lynch as a general manager, Kyle Shanahan as their head coach, were very close to drafting Mac Jones as opposed to Trey Lance. Obviously, both mistakes, it looks like right now, because a timing system. And Brock Purdy's the perfect quarterback.
Probably would look better in that offense.
So, he would probably be a star in the National Football League right now if he was in Kyle Shanahan's timing offense. With that being said, Dan and I are both on San Francisco.
Yep.
We are on the Monday Night Football as the Green Bay Packers traveling out to Vegas, Sin City, Gonna play the Raiders. My wife loves the Raiders. She just walked out. She's behind the camera. That's why I mentioned her. Packers 2.5-point favorites, less than a field goal favorites on the road. They come off. Well, they have a lot of rest. They come off with their beat down at home in Lambeau Field against the Detroit Lions, who said, "We take control of this division right now," and they did. I mean, their defense absolutely throttled Jordan Love in that offense. Christian Watson was back. Aaron Jones was back. Detroit said, "We don't give a fuck." They beat them down. I mean, it wasn't really close, Dan.
No, and they're coming up against the Raiders. The defense is playing good. Max
Raiders
Crosby, yeah.
And Dan and I mentioned it briefly. We were talking about it. How horrible was that hit that Jerry Tillery for the Raiders? The Raiders last week, they lost to their division rival, the Los Angeles Chargers. Jerry Tillery, ex-Notre Dame guy, I love Notre Dame guys, was a member of the Chargers for probably the first 3 or so years of his career. He goes to the Raiders. He knows Justin Herbert very well, and he absolutely hammered Justin Herbert in a horrible, play out of bounds, a good 3 yards out of bounds, and he didn't hold up one bit. There wasn't volume on the game. It was on one of the side TVs, the other TV here. And I'm like, that guy should be fucking thrown out. And I'm not an advocate of people being thrown out of games.
He should have been thrown out. That's bullshit. I wouldn't put up with it. He did the same shit when he was at Notre Dame. It was against USC. He had a late hit. It acted like a douche. Get him out.
The team's almost got into a brawl, and I don't blame him.
They should have gotten a brawl. They should have beat his ass.
Oh, the Chargers sideline absolutely erupted. He was lucky to get out of there.
I'd have kicked his ass. If I saw him right now, I'd kick him in the nuts.
He was lucky to get out of there. His people pulled him out of there.
He's a piece of shit. I'm embarrassed to say he's a Notre Dame graduate.
That's strong.
It's not strong. But don't act like an asshole.
It was egregious. It's
not
bad.
that hard. It's life, dude. If you're going to be a prick, stay at home.
The thing that I hate is that he knows Justin Herbert.
That's what I'm saying. You're a prick. You're fucking thug. Get out of here. We have no use for you in society.
He played his first.
Go home.
He played his first 3 years with the Chargers. I mean, he's had beers with Justin Herbert. He's hung out with him.
He probably didn't have beers.
Okay, I don't want to drink.
He's a freaking.
Anyway.
No use for
Packers
him.
minus 2.5.
I have no use for him. Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
Packers minus 2.5.
You don't play the game that way.
Packers minus 2.5 on the road.
I'm taking the Packers.
Garoppolo didn't play last week. I think he was in the concussion protocol. I think he does play this week.
Packers.
They played their rookie quarterback, Aiden O'Connell. They had a choice last week to play Aiden O'Connell, the rookie out of Purdue, who showed very well in preseason. And obviously preseason doesn't mean anything. And Dan's right. Because I talked about how good the Steelers looked in preseason.
DTR for the Browns looked great in the
really got good
preseason.
DTR. Did 2-3 picks like in a heartbeat. Aiden O'Connell looked like a kind of a deer in headlights last week as a rookie. I think Garoppolo's back. I'm not. I don't buy the Packers. I don't buy the Packers. I think the Raiders at home, I like them to win this game.
I don't buy the Packers either. I don't buy the Raiders. This game sucks.
Once again, then we have 4 games probably, which is probably better than normal. At odds, if you will. I think we're on the same page with the rest. Once again, to recap, buys Cleveland, the Chargers, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. Here we are, best bets.
Holy shit, elephant pick. Damn it.
I'm not going to let you, push me. And I don't care if this show goes another 3 minutes. I got to look at this.
I got mine.
Me too.
Who do you got?
Let me look again.
Because
I'm pissed that I lost. I'm pissed. No, don't. I want to go first. I do want to go first. I want to go first. I like Detroit. I like Miami. Big numbers. The Chiefs are going to cover this number on a fast turf. In Minnesota, I think they're.
Chiefs.
Yes, less than 2 field goal favorite. I'm taking the Chiefs minus 5.5.
I'm going with the Jets.
I love them. I think they win that game outright. I think the Chiefs dominate this fucking football game. I think they're tired of them looking mediocre. I hope the fuck Taylor Swift doesn't want to go to Minnesota. I mean, it's kind of wild, but Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm looking forward to next week. We're going to have our first guest picker of the year, Teddy. Going to be in the background. I'm
Nice.
sure we'll get Mark at some point in time, everybody. Shannon wants to be on the show. It's all going to happen. I'm sure it'll happen. Thanks for watching. If you endured this entire thing, we're probably a good hour or so into the broadcast. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
Damn it. I never got the third river.